Hello and welcome back to Quickflicks. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about The Secret of Kells, the 2008 film from Cartoon Saloon and director Tom Moore. This is the first in a trilogy called the Irish Folklore Trilogy that Tom Moore made. After this film, there was Song of the Sea, and more recently, Wolfwalkers from Apple TV+. The film takes place in a village that is meant to be a sanctuary from outside forces, where we follow young Brendan, who is a young monastery person who gets in contact with a person who is trying to write the Book of Kells, and he is tasked with trying to finish it. And when he goes out into the woods, he meets a young spirit named Ashley, who is his guiding force to doing what he loves. And as all this is going on, and encroaching threats from Vikings loom ever closer to their inhabitants. The thing I like about this movie is its presentation, and it's something that is ever present in the Irish Folklore trilogy. The way its environments are planned out, the way the town is sort of viewed as this isometric type of thing, as opposed to a traditional layout of what animated films usually go for. It goes for a more storybook layout, which is, again, present in the other films that Cartoon Saloon has made, such as Song of the Sea and Wolfwalkers. But as far as the actual narrative goes, yeah, it's pretty kind of standard from what I kind of gather from it. Basically, it's about this kid who wants to prove himself to his uncle in a completely different way. He wants to write the Book of Kells with this ancient looking person, this wise person who's been working on this book for a long time. And his father just won't have it because the outside world is trying to encroach upon them. You know, all these Vikings and invaders are trying to kill everyone and invade their lands, and he's trying to protect it. And there's a pretty good scene that really emphasizes this struggle between Brendan's uncle and himself when, towards the end of the film, there's this scene where he basically says, you know, Brendan, you need to stop doing this. I don't care about your drawings. We have enemies that are coming in. You need to stop. And it kind of showcases in that one scene the differences between how his uncle reacts to the world versus how someone as young as Brendan reacts to the world. And it definitely showcases, in terms of the environment, this juxtaposition between modern society and the forest out there, especially in how Brendan talks about fairies in this film. He's told that the story fairy tales of fairies and magical creatures are all pagan nonsense because he's raised in a very Christ-like environment with all these monks and all these monasteries that are in this enclosed space. And it is something that is brought back again in Wolfwalkers, I feel like. I feel like Wolfwalkers also kind of has some aspects about this film that gets translated into Wolfwalkers. There's this whole thing with like this wolf that shows up, and it's not explicitly told whether or not that's a Wolfwalker. We just kind of know that that's Ashley. And the idea of someone that can turn into a wolf as a Wolfwalker, you know, I think is kind of laid there. I know I'm kind of like, grasping at straws with that one, but it kind of does make sense if you go watch that film and then you watch Wolfwalkers. It's like, okay, well, I can kind of see some of the seeds there. But make no mistake, none of these films, Song of the Sea, Secret of Kells, or Wolfwalkers, are really connected in any Easter eggy type of way, as far as I've found. It's more about understanding folklore in the modern day. It's about discussing the lost Irish folklore that had been taken out for a long time. In Ireland especially, there was a huge history of the culture of, Irish people just kind of getting subjugated. You know, the Gaelic language could not be taught in schools. And until fairly recently, there wasn't any, education in that sense, as far as I understand the history of Ireland. If anyone wants to, jump in on this point, they can. But, as far as I understood from my time in Ireland and from studying Ireland, Irish culture wasn't necessarily something that was taught much in schools because of the large, subjugation from England until the Republic of Ireland was formed, and there's like a divided state between Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland, and that's a whole different thing. I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but the entirety of the whole Folklore trilogy is about this divide between modernity versus folklore. And I don't think it's the strongest here. I think the strongest it's gotten is something like Song of the Sea, but The Secret of Kells really does lay some of the groundwork for what the other films in this whole trilogy are meant to showcase. As far as critiques I have of this film, there's a part in this film where a character is perceived to be dead, but then somehow this person's still alive, even though we saw like this person like die essentially from being stabbed in the back. Like it doesn't necessarily make sense. Maybe I had to rewatch the scene because either I saw a sword go this way or I saw a sword go that way, and I just don't know. To be fairly honest with you. And I don't really have any real critiques, really, of the full film. It's pretty short. It's about 65, 70 minutes, not including credits. It's pretty short. It's the shortest out of all of these. You can pretty much have an afternoon where you just watch this film and just be like, I liked it. It's enjoyable. And I know for some people, Secret of Kells is like their favorite of this trilogy, but to be honest, to me, it's not my favorite. I'd say this is my third favorite of the whole trilogy. It does introduce a lot of things for the trilogy going forward. It's just, there's not really much there. I will say, though, this is one of the darker entries because of what happens in the third act. Just people get killed in this movie. Like, just killed. Like, you don't really see it happening, but it's implied that the entirety of this place gets, like, demolished. It's it's kind of sad. It gets really dark. Definitely not as dark as, Wolfwalkers was, but it is a dark entry to start out with. And then you compare that to Song of the Sea, and that's not as dark as what happens in Secret of Kells. But I ended up enjoying my time with it. It had some good voice acting. The animation's still really good. And that's basically about it. I enjoyed the story for what it was, how short it was. It didn't overstay its welcome. I would have liked a little bit more meat to the bone, but I am fine for the runtime it was back then. And yeah, so I'm going to give The Secret of Kells a B+. Thank you guys so much for watching my review of The Secret of Kells. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'll see you guys with Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Great.